Hey, what's up? Dave with Brazos Valley Strength. And today I wanted to make a pretty quick video on what the internet tends to call the best bench press grip, the Bulldog grip. So I'll talk about what the Bulldog grip actually is, some benefits and maybe some downsides of using it. But I wanted to start with, I guess, why I'm making this video here in the first place. Anytime I'm taking on newer lifters in particular, but a lot of times people who have been lifting for a while and are moving into more powerlifting specific training, it's pretty common for people to stumble upon things like hook grip or Bulldog grip that are these kind of fancy techniques that people think are really going to just explode their strength just because of some sort of hack into a good, amazing position. And I think most people are taken by these things because they sound cool, they have cool names. Every now and then there's really good lifters that use them. I think the best example to compare this to is hook grip, where there are definitely some benefits of using a hook grip. But if you took the population of the best deadlifters across the board, I don't think the majority of people would be using those. I'm very confident that they wouldn't be. And probably less than 25% or so of the best deadlifters all around are even using hook grip in the first place. And I think that one may be a little bit more common than even Bulldog grip. But with the Bulldog grip, I get this question all the time. And it prompted me to make this because I probably had 3 of my clients in the last month say at their gyms that people had been talking about it, they wanted to try it, and they had questions about it. So here's my video that'll hopefully influence a lot of my clients in the future and be a different voice to all of the videos that I watched while trying to research Bulldog grip stuff. All of the videos you can find online are just why it's amazing, why it's the best bench press grip, and why if you use it, it will blow up your bench press. So I do think that there are some pretty good positive things to come from it, but there's also some negative things that I don't think will fit for everybody. So as usual, this video will fit into a lot of my other videos that I've already made. Some really big ones that will factor in with this, I'll put them in the description of this video, but it's my wrist position video. So whether you should have your wrist straight or extended in the bench press, the grip width video, so close grip versus wide grip video, and even things on soft touch versus the sinking touch, I think is going to be relevant here as well. But those first two probably have much more relevance just immediately for most people. So what the Bulldog grip is, basically it's just a very internally rotated grip. So internal, external rotation, you can think of your thumb. So if my thumbs are facing up, that's mostly neutral, just arms hanging down by my side, right? So lifting them straight up, my thumbs are facing up. Internal rotation, thumbs are moving towards midline, but that flares the elbows, right? So internal rotation is going to flare the elbows as it's rotating my humerus, as it's rotating my upper arm inwards, right? So that's going to be a really important concept if I talk about internal rotation. It does make the elbows move out a good bit. So the Bulldog grip is a very internally rotated grip that the proponents of the grip say gets the bar lower in your hand, which may be positive. Again, that's all addressed in my grip video. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but where the bar can and should be in the hand is covered in that video. So they would say it stacks the bar better on top of the wrist, maybe. And it also, one of the biggest things is it prevents people from over tucking their elbows. And I think that this is probably one of the bigger benefits overall, especially for newer lifters, because newer lifters are very often taught that they should be squeezing their backs real hard and tucking their elbows all the way and just trying to keep everything as pinched as they can. And as people are getting stronger, I think, especially nowadays, it's pretty common knowledge overall that tucking your elbows, especially very hard in the bench press, is really not going to be a positive thing. If you want a little bit more of a breakdown there, I also have the flare your elbows video that I can link below as well. I got a lot of other videos that may be overlapping here. So I for sure am a fan of making sure that the elbows are in a position to be able to utilize the pecs well so that we can actually maintain that balance, barbell over our shoulders, and be our strongest. So almost everybody, it would be very rare, I can't really think of a case, we'll just say everybody is going to have some degree of internal rotation in their bench press. So when I'm gripping the barbell, it's pretty much impossible for me to grip the bar without having my hands rotate just a little bit to get my hands around the bar. But I think just even that visual right there, you can probably see that the grip width is going to make a pretty big difference as far as the value and even just the position that's going to feel comfortable for people and how much internal rotation is going to work for them in the first place. So a more narrow grip is going to need significantly less and it's going to benefit significantly less from a more internally rotated grip. My close grip versus wide grip video talks about this a good bit as far as efficiency in the bench press, and the more internally rotated we are there, definitely brings the elbows outside of the wrists and can make things a whole lot less efficient. Touch point matters in there, but that's kind of the broad stroke with that. But as I get wider, my bar path is going to straighten out a good bit, and just naturally my hand is going to end up more internally rotated to get on the barbell. So at that point, moving more towards a bulldog style grip can be a very positive thing potentially for some people, just because that pattern is going to be probably beneficial for them in the first place, rather than a wide grip with the elbows very tucked is probably not going to be a great position for them to actually be able to maintain leverage and produce force into the barbell in the first place. So is the bulldog grip in that case something that pretty much all wide grip benchers should do? I don't think so. I think the bulldog grip is kind of an exaggeration and in a lot of ways kind of a catchy style looking thing, because most of the time the bulldog grip, if we're talking about the people who are making videos on it, is going to be characterized as the fingers not even really wrapping around the barbell because the grip is so internally rotated, and it kind of looks fancy and it looks like something that's outside of what normal positions, normal patterns would be for most people. And almost always, I don't think that that's a very good approach for things if we're feeling very, very forced into a position that isn't natural for most people to produce force from in the first place. But if you are somebody who's having issues with your touch point, who is tending to over tuck your elbows, I do think that cueing a little bit more internal rotation is probably a pretty positive thing for most people, especially as their arches are bigger, especially as the grips go wider. And a lot of times people who do softer touches tend to do pretty well with all of those styles kind of overlapping in the first place. So I think my main issue with the bulldog grip in general is that it's more so the lack of understanding around the concept of the grip and kind of more of a focus on the trick of having this special grip that you think is going to just magically make your bench press show up. If you think a flatter bar path, if you think the wider grip, if you think more internal rotation, if you think all of those things are things that are going to benefit your bench press, then sure, maybe try a little bit more, maybe challenge a little bit more of that internal rotation and see if it feels positive for you. But I do think that there are some pretty noticeable downsides to using this grip. And I'm somebody who does not tolerate the bulldog grip. I don't tolerate a lot of internal rotation very well. And I think that there are a lot of other people who are very, very similar to this. Almost every time that I get asked this question by a newer lifter, and somebody in their gym saying, oh, we were talking about bulldog grip, it's the best bench press grip, everybody uses it. I'm like, name five people that you would consider really using a bulldog grip, especially people who are very, very good benchers. And I just don't think there are as many of them as people think, because I don't think that many people tolerate it all that well. So conceptually, I think the idea of internal rotation, keeping the bar stacked and all of that can be very positive, but it's also a position that I think over the long run, with lots and lots of reps of bench press, can be something that people don't tolerate with their pecs, kind of shoulder area, because it's a very forced, extremely far range of motion overall. Even me demonstrating this position, I don't know that I can get much further with that internal rotation, with my elbows flared as much as they are, and the bar is still a good bit away from my chest at that point. So for me, it is just not something that I tolerate in my upper body. Also, in my Flare Your Elbows video, I talk a lot about touch point and how us touching lower on our chests can really reduce range of motion. So not only does having a less internally rotated grip, a little bit more of a natural grip, allow a more natural arm angle, but it also potentially reduces the range of motion. And for somebody like me who uses a good bit of pop off my chest, I may be able to get a little bit more of my body into the barbell. And so as far as longevity with it, it's going to make and has made a very big difference for me overall, avoiding some of that overuse in my pecs from those very, very long ranges of motion. And I think that that's absolutely worth considering right there, that there are benefits from having your elbows more flared, from having more internal rotation in your bench press. But the downsides can be lots of times more range of motion for people. And because of that range of motion and very high loads, it can beat people up a whole lot. So is it worth trying for you? Watch those other videos. And if you're somebody who does tend to fit my categories, as far as somebody who might benefit from a soft touch, who might benefit from a wider grip, those kind of things, I think maybe people who can probably try out a more internally rotated position and probably find some value from it. I don't think it's as common as people would really want it to be. And I don't think that it has quite the value as all the YouTube videos that are saying that it's the best bench press grip and it's going to be the key to blowing up your bench press. I think the main thing is going to be consistency and for sure repeatability, and something that's going to keep you healthy over the long run and able to consistently train your bench press without getting hurt and by avoiding many of those overuse injuries. So if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.